All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start off by giving all praises and glory and honors to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Harakah Kodash, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone Rule Well. Peace and blessings and citations to the hopeful elect, the Bayat Dawadah, the house of David. All right, so we're just going to go right into it. All right, so as you can see right here, the fourth industrial revolution, right? It says Industry 4.0, or the fourth industrial revolution, is an ongoing digital transformation of manufacturing and industry characterized by the fusion of physical and digital worlds through smart machines, interconnected systems, and data exchange. It enables smart factories with end-to-end integration using technologies like AI, Internet of Things, and robotics to create more efficient and flexible and responsive production and supply chains. This shift moves beyond simple automation, Industry 3.0, to create self-optimizing systems that can analyze and act as real-time information, improving productivity, reducing costs, and creating new business models. So as you know, like smart cities and stuff like that, which smart means surveillance, monitoring, analysis, reporting, and tracking. You see, Internet of Things, Internet of Things, right, and Internet of Everything. So what consists of that is being the RFID microchip, which is the mark of the beast, right? And everything governed by technology like drones. You got Gideon, Palantir, right? And you're going to have humanoid robots, right? And things of that nature, okay? And then you got exactly transhumanism, which is you become a damn cyborg, all right? And they show you this in many different movies, man, and many different things of that nature, right? So when you go down to here, it says key technologies. It says Internet of Things, connecting machines, sensors, and devices to collect and exchange data, right? That's why they got data centers set up everywhere, right? A whole bunch of data centers set up everywhere. You gotta have 6G towers set up everywhere with high widths of speed, high frequencies of radiation, to be exact. All right, artificial intelligence, AI, right? Machine learning, enabling automatous robots and predictive maintenance, right? Big data and analytics, analyzing vast amounts of data for insights and decision making, cloud computing, all right? Providing the infrastructure for data storage and processing, cyber physical systems, integrating computation, networking, and physical processes, digital twins, virtual models of physical assets for simulation and testing, core concepts, right? Smart factories, facilities with interconnected machines that communicate and collaborate, right? It says interoperability. It says machines, devices, sensors, and people communicating and collaborating. Information transparency, creating a virtual copy of physical world through sensor data, right? Decentralized decisions, cyber physical systems making decisions on their own. Increased efficiency, impact, and benefits, right? So increased efficiency, optimizing processes, reducing downtime, and lowering energy consumption, right? Greater flexibility, adapting quickly to changes in demand and customization. New business models, creating enhanced products and services through digital capabilities. Improved simply chains. Improved supply chain, Salakia. It says real-time visibility and better coordination with suppliers. Skill shifts, increased demand for skills and analysts, AI cybersecurity and systems thinking, decreased demand for routine, manual, and basic cognitive tasks. All right, so let's go into here real quick. Right, so I always bring this out. These are the 17 sustainable development goals according to Agenda 2030, which they want to set up these devils, right? A new world order. You see, right? It says ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and long life learning, right? Down, it says dumb down education to indoctrinate, upskilling and reskilling for new life and long learning, gig economy, right? As AI and robotics will replace many jobs. And as you can see, that's what's been going on. That's why a lot of these jobs been taken away by what? Humanoid robots. Okay? And so on and so forth, right? And like when you get down to here, right, in gender equality, right, it says gender equality and empower women, right? Replace human intelligence with AI to avoid incorrect judgments, promote radical fashionism, the trans sodomite agenda, and multiply genders. See this madness here, man? It says teach women to have less or no kids. Look at this, right? Abandon gender identity and promote transhumanism as the new gender, right? So let's go over here. All right, let's get into here right here. All right, no poverty. First, this is the first goal. It says in poverty and it's all forms everywhere. It says all will receive digital universal basic income and identity on a blockchain, which consists of having that RFID microchip, which is the mark of the beast, right? Wealth distribution from rich to poor, the elimination of low class, all right? And as you can see, right? So let's go over here. Let's go to number 8, right? It says promote sustainable economic growth and productive employment in decent work, right? Replace workers with robotics and AI. Connect workers to VR headsets, as the metaverse will be the future of work. You see, right there. Let's jump down to verse 9. It says build resilient infrastructure, right? Promote industrialization, right? And innovation. Use robotics and AI to fully automate infrastructural projects and innovation, making people useless in the industries. Okay. All right. So let's go over here. Right. Let's read these. Let's read both of these here. All right. Because this thing has a lot to do with the chips, smart cities. Right. You see, robotics, AI technology. Right. Which is artificial intelligence. You see, tracking, tracing, and control, all these things of that nature, right? So this is 16, right? Peace, justice, and strong institutions, right? Promote peaceful societies and inclusive, right? Institutions with sustainable development. Only those with the RFID chip and a digital ID passport with biometrics, data, and blockchain can be a part of the peaceful society. Social credits, right? Because it goes with social credits, right? Which is your carbon footprint, social credit scores, right? And so on and so forth, right? You see CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, a universal basic income, all right? Throw you in a smart city, you only go to a 15-minute radius, a 15-minute radius, man. And that's within your city. You see? And that's where the red list, the yellow list, the red list, the blue list, and the yellow list comes in, right? They're going to have shipping centers in these concentration camps and all these things of this nature, man. And then the yellow list are people who are going to be phased back into society, who are going to follow after the ways of this society, who are going to take the chip. You see, they're going to bow down to the devil. They're going to bow down to the beast system and to the image of the beast system, right? You see? So it says, where we at? Social credits will be used to get the population to obey the new world order, all right, and and punish unwanted behavior. Those who do not comply will be imprisoned or have all benefits on a blockchain turned off, right? 17 partnership for the goals. It says strengthen the means of what implementation and revitalize, right, and revitalize global partnership for sustainability, right? It says, in order to implement all 17 SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, and maintain global partnership for the goals, a number of key technologies need to be further pushed on societies such as the CBDC, central bank digital currencies, blockchain technology, CRISPR gene editing, right? You see, transhumanism, okay, right? AI monitoring, sensors, right? Gideon Palantir, right? So on and so forth, right? AI biometric facial recognition cameras, okay, which is set up all over the place. All right, 5G, 6G, those are the towers, Gwyn towers, and things of that nature. Smart cities, which I explained about smart cities, right? Surveillance, monitoring, analysis, reporting, and tracking, which is all track, trace, and control, right along with them RFID chips. Everything they know, they'll know everything. They'll know what you spent, they'll know everything. You see, you'll be just, you'll be tracked pretty much, controlled, and so on and so forth. This is what you can do. This is what you can't do. This is how far you can go. This is what you can do. You got smart cars, which is electronical vehicles, EVs, right? It says IoT, IOB, robotics, etc., to fully control the world, right? So now let's get out of there. Let's get out of here, right? Let's go to a scripture. This is Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse number 3. It says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. You see, it definitely will surely come, and it will not tarry. That's why you got to live by faith. And the men of the Lord are going to live by their faith, man. You see, they're going to put their soul trust in Yahweh Shem Yahushai, right? It says, behold his soul, which is lifted up, right? Which is pride, his pride, talking about this devil, the so-called white man, Esau Edom, right? Is not upright in him, but the just shall live by faith. And the word just means righteous, right? And the righteous are who? The elect, the hopeful elect, is going to live by faith, right? It says, yeah, also because he transgresseth by wine, right? Meaning his philosophies, right? He is a proud man, neither keepeth at home. He always going around and raping and robbing and stealing and pillaging, right? Because this thing is a global thing. This new world order, right, is a global thing. You see, with this whole everybody being chipped, right? Let me hold that real quick. Let me get you this here real quick, and then we'll go back to the Habakkuk. Let's get this Revelation, right? Let's do Revelation 2 and 10 first, and then we'll get 3 and 10. Right? It says, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried. Tried by what? That RFID microchip. You see? Because this devil is going to come down having great wrath. Let's get that real quick, and then we go back to that. Right? Because he's coming down, going to have great wrath. It says, in Revelation 12 and 12, it says, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down on you unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he had but a short time. You see, he knoweth that he had but a short time. Jacob's trouble. You see, and these were all these things are going to happen during that time. Jeremiah 30 and 7. Right? Let's go back to Revelation 2 and 10. All right. It says, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. Now let's go over to chapter 3. Right? Chapter 3 and verse number 10. And like I said, this is a global thing, so the whole world is going to be tried by it. Right? It says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. Okay? You see? So now let's go back to that Habakkuk. Right? The Habakkuk 2. Let's go back to that verse number 3. Right? Latter verse. It says, neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire as hell, and is as death, because this man is nothing but death. That's all he brings is death. You see? That's all he brings is death. All right? It says, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations. Right, because he want to chip all nations. You see? He want to chip all the people of all nations. We say that. Right? And heapeth unto him all people. Okay? All right? And then we'll get, we'll get the chip at the end of this video here, but we're going to play this here real quick. Right? Oh, man. Oh, man. Let's get this here.
I don't even use an agency anymore.
What? Then how are you running ads?
Oh, I started using Mega.
One of the biggest consumer electronics and AI trade shows, AWE 2026, just wrapped up in Shanghai, China. And of course, the robots were out in full force. And we're not talking about some fancy dances or scripted tricks here. We're talking about a task that engineers have been trying to solve for the last 30 years. See, one of the most fundamental hurdles in humanoid robotics today is dealing with deformable objects. To put it simply, stuff like fabrics, threads, and thin wires. That's why it's a massive deal when a robot can pick up a needle and actually embroider a specific pattern. Just think about it. Embroidery and wire harness assembly are the most delicate tasks the human body is capable of. It requires everything: hand-eye coordination, fine motor skills in the fingers, and a real feel for the tension of the thread. At AWE, Appliance and Electronics World Expo 2026, one robot showed it could do it all: the embroidery, plus something even more important from a practical standpoint. The most interesting stuff went down at the booth for a company called TARS, which was founded as recently as February 2025. Yeah, you heard that right. In that short amount of time, they developed their own foundation model for robots and made it to a major expo. And they weren't just some startup with a tiny demo booth in the corner. They were a full-scale exhibitor with a unique product. And on top of that, they caught the attention of national media CMG in their very first exhibition. At TARS, they call it the formula of super algorithms plus super embodiment plus super applications. Super algorithms that understand physics and learn to take smart actions. Super embodiment that can bridge the gap between the digital and physical worlds, and super applications that solve real-world manufacturing and living problems. Up until now, humanoid robots have been pretty good at one specific type of task: moving rigid objects like parts or crates. But the second you put something flexible in their hands, everything falls apart. The problem is that these objects don't have a fixed shape. Instead, they're changing every single second. A wire sags, fabric folds in unpredictable ways, a thread twists. They have an infinite state space, which makes it impossible for a robot to build a model of what's going to happen next. This is exactly why smartphone manufacturers still have to route flexible cables by hand. And that's precisely why automotive wiring harness assembly can't be fully automated just yet. But it looks like the folks at TARS found the answer, and it's a universal embodied large model called AWE 3.0, which is capable of handling real-world tasks in physical space. The name stands for AI World Engine, and it brings a specific idea to life. For a robot to actually function in the real world, what it needs is not just a sequence of programmed actions. It needs a world model, a deep understanding of the physical world and autonomous intelligence. Think about it. When you pick up a cup of coffee from a table, you intuitively get its weight and properties. You know exactly what's going to happen in any given scenario because your brain has built a model of that object based on a lifetime of interacting with cups and liquids. It allows the robot to be trained on a massive data set of real human interactions with objects in physical space. And the key word here is actual, not synthetic, not simulated, not teleoperation. Behind this model lies a totally unique data collecting method, and that's exactly what the company showcased at AWE 2026. It's a data collection kit called Sense Hub. Operators wear special gloves and a camera equipped with tactile, visual, and action sensors and just work with their hands. They aren't programming, they aren't writing code, they're just doing what humans do every day. Meanwhile, the system meticulously records everything, every micro movement of the hands, the exact pressure used to grip an object, the position of every joint in space, and that split second when an operator pulls the fabric a bit tighter so it doesn't slip.
This is your fourth industrial revolution with robotics and AI driven, right? And so on and so forth. Okay?
This isn't some hypothetical scenario, it's real-world experience being passed directly to the robot. The company dubbed this dataset WIYH, which stands for World in Your Hands. It's actually the world's first large-scale multimodal robotics dataset that syncs up vision, language, tactile sensations, and actions, what they call VLTA data. Vision, touch, language, and proprioception, which is the robot's sense of its own body position in space. In the past, a robot could usually only grab an object if it saw it from the same angle it was trained on. But now, it achieves a threefold increase in task success rates under entirely unfamiliar viewpoints. In addition, motion jitter during operation is reduced by over 45%, making it capable of precise and complex manipulations. And we got some rock-solid proof of how well this training works with a brand new world record. It's now officially listed in Guinness World Records for the most wire harness assembly operations under 1 millimeter performed by a robot in a single hour. Get this, the task was assembling wiring harnesses with a diameter of less than a millimeter. The TARS robot managed to complete 105 operations. These harnesses are made of thin, floppy wires that have to be plugged into connectors with sub-millimeter precision. The wire doesn't hold its shape, so you have to feel it with your fingers. Human workers say this job is genuinely painful. The pressure on them is immense, with an extremely high turnover rate. Workers quit, and new ones are hired every few months. By the way, TARS has two series of robots, the A series and the T series. Both share the same AWE 3.0 based brain and the same hands, but they get around differently. Think of the A series as your ideal workshop assistant. It rolls on a stable, wheeled platform that's perfect for flat indoor floors. The T series, on the other hand, is the guy that won't trip over your doorstep. It's bipedal, with 2 legs designed to handle things like stairs and uneven surfaces. One of their niches is industrial assembly, electronics, automotive components, wiring harnesses, everything that demands both precision and flexibility at the same time. Now they can. You know what grabs me the most about this whole story? It's the idea that for the first time, we're not teaching robots with code, we're teaching them through experience. Not through if A then B logic, but through a massive data set of human labor compressed into a neural network. We are literally passing down our skills to machines, the very things that took us humans years to master ourselves. The question is, what happens 2 years from now? 5 years from now? Let me know what you think in the comments, and make sure to subscribe. We've still got a lot of cool stuff coming up.
All right, so there you have it. Right? So, let's go to that Revelation. Right? The 13th chapter. You already know where I'm going. In the 16th verse. All right? It says, and he calls us all, both small and great, rich and poor, because this is going to be a part of the 4th Industrial Revolution is being chipped. You see? While AI robotics takes over your job, right? Which they already doing that on a large scale anyway, okay? You see? It's only a matter of time before they look to push this off and make it and implement it. You see? Well, you're going to be end up taking a chip. You're going to be tried and tested by taking an RFID microchip because cash is going to be done away with. You're no longer gonna have cash. Cash is gonna be done away with. All right. I'm just telling you now. All right. And he calls us all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark. That mark is charagma in their right hand or in their foreheads. Right. See the BCI, the brain computer interface. Okay. Which you got Neuralink, you got precision decision, you got precision brain, you got synchronize, right, or synchron. You got all these other different BCI companies out there. Okay, it says, and that no man might buy or sell. Buying and selling is transactional. You see, exchange for service of goods. It says, save he that have the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that haveth understanding count the number of the beast. Right, the new UPC. The Universal Product Code, which would be you. You would be the new UPC. Okay, with a chip inside you. You see? With everything being put on a blockchain, your medical records, your driving history, right? Everything is going to be put on that, your birth certificate, Everything is going to be put on a blockchain. All right, your spending limits, and so on and so forth. Okay, all recorded on a blockchain. All right, it says, save he that had the mark of the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom, let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast. For it is the number of a man, and his number is 666, a number of imperfection. That's 666. All right, and that's this man's number. That's this devil's number. You see? What do you think when you see the number 13, you see the number 24, it all adds up to 6. You see, those are all things of joining into it, of what this man's numbers are. You see? So, hey, with that, brothers, we're going to give all praises, honor, and glory to, well, you know what? Let me do this real quick. Let me get Revelation 16. All right, you take that shit, okay? It's going to be a grievous sword that fall upon you. Revelation 16:2, it says, and the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshipped his image. You see that? That grievous sore right there, the word sore is helkos. Okay? A sore, a pus, right? But it's going to be from high frequencies of radiation. Let's go down to verse number 10. It says, and the fifth angel poured out his vial upon the seat of the beast, and his kingdom was full of darkness, and they gnawed their tongues for pain, and blasphemed, right? And blasphemed the power of heaven, Yahweh of heaven, because their pains and their sores, right? Their helkos, and repented not of their deeds. All right, now let's go over to the 14th chapter. You take that ship, Yahweh Shem Yahshai will destroy you. Verse number 9. See the subhead doomed for the worshippers of the beast. And the third angel followed with them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahweh, which is poured out without mixture into a cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone. That's those ICBM missiles, intercontinental ballistic missiles, right? It says in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. That's Yahweh, right? And the smoke of their torment ascended up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. Here is the patience of the saints, and here are they that keep the commandments of Yahweh and the faith of Yahweh. So with that, we're going to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Harakah Kodash, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone Ruel. Peace and blessings and citations to the hopeful elect, the Bayat Dawadah, the house of David. Kwam Yasha Allah, Abba Ball, Shalom.